Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, today we're going to finish off this hood scoop one way or the other. I don't think we're going to get it welded to the hood today, but we're going to get all the last crazy parts made for it and get it welded together, sanded, and finished off so it's ready to go when I am. So let's jump in here. We got one more crazy part to make, and then we can start figuring out how to get this thing welded up without warping it. All right, catch you up real quick. So last time I was working on the bottom piece here, trying to get them fitted up really nice down inside those corners, and they are now. I got the shape right here, nice transition from the hood to the scoop, and I tacked them together with the MIG welder. So we're looking pretty good there. We can maybe fine tune this just a little bit, but you know, if I try to make it perfect and then I weld it together, stuff's gonna move. So I've got it really close, but not perfect, and we will fine tune it before it's laid on there to weld final time. So I already went ahead and made this piece on this side right here, and it was interesting. There's a whole lot going on to get that to look like that, and I don't even know if it's going to be right. But the hard part now is making another one just like that one, so they're identicals because they sit right next to each other, so they have to look identical. So let's get in and get to work on this one, and hopefully we can make it look just like that one. All right, guys, you can see the piece already made up inside there. It looks pretty good. I don't know if it's perfect. Obviously, we have a lot of fine tuning to do, but the idea will be to weld it all along and along the bottom here, and then just blend that off into that. It should work out pretty good once we get it welded together. Now, I went ahead and when I cut this piece out, I put the part that goes across the top to complete the tube. It's a little long, it may not be just right, but we can tweak that later. I didn't want to do multiple pieces if I could help it, and it actually helped me have something to hang on to while I was trying to bend it and manipulate it. So the first step is to make this radius right here as it blends down into the bottom piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure where I put that Sharpie line. I'll transfer it over to this piece here, and then we'll move over to the vise, and we'll just push a nice little radius in there, try to match that one exactly, and then we'll move forward with the rest of this. This was probably some of the hardest part right here, trying to get this to stretch and blend over. So yeah, let me get a mark on there, and I'll meet you over at the vise. All right, here's the setup. I've got a piece of 1/2-inch pipe I just split down the middle. I've got the part taped to it because it's just right on the edge right here, because we need to bend right up inside there. And then just a piece of 5/8 solid stock, and we're just gonna kind of tighten the vise up here a little bit and kick a radius in there. Hopefully I don't go too far. I'm going to grab the other piece and try to match it up, but that's basically what we're going to be doing. When I get that set, then we got to figure out how to make the other bends on this thing. All right, we got that one radius. I think it's pretty close, but we won't know till we start fitting parts down inside there. Now we need to make this piece right here, which is this curve. So I've got some 3/4 inch thick walled pipe right here, and the plan is just to try to bend this around here to duplicate this shape right here. So I think we'll just use a flat hammer, just kind of bring that around. I really just want to concentrate on here because this actually needs to stay out for the part of the peak. I just got to figure out if we've gone far enough or too far. I'm just going to keep checking. It looks pretty close right there. So I'll take it out, and then we'll go over to the car and we'll see how it's looking. All right, I got smart. I made myself a little template of the bottom of this one, and then I just flipped it over and tested it, and it does fit. It looks like it's correct. But as you can see, this is way off right here, and that's because we haven't bent this portion through yet. And when we do that and pull that over, that should swing that over, I hope. So let's head over to the vise and do some hammering in this area, see if we can sweeten that up. All right, to get that to come over, I've just got the vise open about 1 inch right here, and I'm just going to come in here and just tap on this, just in the opening here. Well, it's getting there. All right, I'm going to go test it. I'll be right back. All right, we have a ways to go because this actually needs to fold way over because that becomes part of the beak down the middle. So yeah, a lot more hammering to go. All right, it's not looking too bad. Got a little bit of a twist to it. It's laid over pretty good, except you can see this one sweeps in a little deeper. We need to get that to round over, and to do that, we need to stretch that sheet metal to get that to come over. So let's go back over to the vise and keep hammering. All right, to get this stretched out, I'm going to use my favorite body hammer, and we're just going to use the flat side right here, and we're basically just going to pinch it between the vise and the hammer, and that should stretch it out. Then we'll just come over here, and we'll just get that to lay over. Got the vise jaws a little closer together. Gives me a little more of a tighter radius. All right, guys, what you're looking at is hours and hours and hours of fitting, bending, rebending, unbending, and grinding, and I think I've got to stop somewhere. I think it looks pretty good. It doesn't match exactly. We're going to have to use some filler to get this shape, you know, to blend down and look just like that, but we're going to have the bones of what we need. The sides should be really close. This beak right here, this splitter in the middle, it is proving to be very difficult to get to look exactly like that. So we're going to end up using filler, but that's okay. So we're at the point now where I need to start tacking stuff together just so I can kind of push it around a little bit. So I've got this splitter right here centered up, I think, pretty good. So I think I want to get the TIG welder in here and get a couple of tacks just on this, just to hold it together. And then I can get this piece out of the way, and then we can kind of tack it to the other bottom piece here and kind of manipulate that where we want. Then we can start thinking about getting this welded to that. But it's just one step at a time. So let me grab the TIG welder, get a couple of tacks down, mess with it, just keep going until it's done. All right, it's tacked together. It's a little warm. So there you go. Now we're going to need to weld this whole piece together before we can put that other piece onto it. So I need to weld down here, 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 across here, and get all that put together. So let's go over to the welding table and get that knocked out real quick. All right, it ain't pretty. And I got a lot of welding to do down inside here that I just can't see down inside there. So I'm gonna do my best. I'll bring you back and we'll take a look at it. All right, guys, that was tough to weld. I finally put the smallest cup I could find in the kit, and I did a little bit better, but man, that was tough. And I'm, you know me, I'm a novice, mediocre TIG welder, but I had ground the bottoms of these like a razor blade. It was so thin, it kept burning back, and I just couldn't get the right torch angle. So it ain't pretty, but it'll hold. So I'm gonna take a burr tool to it off camera. We'll get those knocked down. I'll try to get all that work done before we try to add that other piece to it. So let me get that busted out, and I'll bring you back. Okay, that burr tool made short work of it. It looks a lot better. Got a sanding drum in there, cleaned it up a little bit, and it does resemble the original scoop. So we're getting there. Now the next thing we need to do, I have this piece set right where I want it, and now we need to fit this piece in. So I just can't take it over to the bench and then just weld this on. It'd be nice to do that, but I have to make sure it fits, because right now it's a little high right here, but it's fitting everywhere else. And we're actually touching on one of my welds and it's touching down in here. So I'll take the roll-lock and just kind of keep sanding and tweaking until this piece actually fits down where I want it. Then what I'll probably do is kind of hold it all down, tack it in place, then we can pull it off and weld it just like we did the bottom piece. All right, guys, chasing that rabbit down the hole way too long, so I got to stop. It's not perfect exactly the way I want it. It's a little low, but once I weld it, I got to fill all this area anyway, so I don't know why I'm trying to make it perfect, like there's not going to be any filler on it. So I've got it laying really good right over here. Across here is looking pretty good. It's a little high over here. I'm going to have to lay a little weight on there while I tack it. So the plan is tack it right here in the center, tack it over here somewhere, hold this down and tack it right there, step back, reevaluate it, if it looks okay, maybe get a tack up in this corner and that corner, and then we'll maybe take it off the car and get a few more tacks on it and then retest fit it. If it's looking good, then we can get this welded all the way around on here and both sides, and then we can start doing the finishing work on it. Well, it doesn't look like it moved. Let's go ahead and get another tack on it. Let's pull the tape off and see how it lays there. All right, let's get this tape off here. This thing turns into a banana on me. I quit. Well, it's not moving. That's a good thing. Be surprised how much this tape can actually hold. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Still a little warm, but look at that, fits right back on there. Don't have to fight it or anything. All right, let's take it over to the bench, check it out, see what we need to do next. All right, it looks pretty good. We have a little bit of a problem though. This throat right here is a little bit bigger after all that pushing and pulling and everything. This one doesn't look the same as this one. And if we look back through the back right here, I don't know if you guys can make that out, if I can get the angle right, but there's a bigger gap on this one here than this one over here. So what I think we need to do is push between these two and just kind of square this up a little bit and get that to go up. I don't want to just pinch these together, because then that'll pull that down and screw it up where it lines up with the hood. So I'm going to do that off camera. I think I've got something I can put in there and push that up. I should have enough steel just to flex that up a little bit. I may square this round up a little bit to give me a little extra steel, because this one is a slightly different shape. So if I pinch that with a pair of pliers, it'll flatten it out, give me a little more material, and then I should be able to push that up. So I'll bring you back in a few minutes, see if we succeeded. All right, guys, I gotta quit messing with this thing. I think we've got it pretty even. You can see a little chunk of wood in there that's holding that one up to match the other side. I think I'll get a tack on each side of that and then match the tacks over there, and then just go ahead and full weld this thing. So let's get to it. All right, it's all tacked up. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up a little bit and just go for it. All right, there we go. Not fantastic welds, but they'll do the job. And I looked through the backside and I've got full penetration, so I can grind on those edges and not worry about going through or anything. I laid a little bit more right through here on the beak, on the splitter, so I can build that up because that's kind of supposed to be a straight line from here to here. So I may need to add some more, but I've got a lot of grinding ahead of me. I won't do that on camera. I'll bust that out. It's going to be probably an hour or so of grinding, but yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. I already test fitted back on the car and it doesn't look like it moved or anything, so I think we're looking good. All right, guys, I said 1 hour of grinding and sanding. Well, I was way off. So I basically worked on it till the end of the day. It's the next day. I know I got it looking pretty good. So I've been messing with it this morning, trying to get it to lay down in there just right. The last thing I want to do is have to, force it down, tack it, force it down somewhere else, tack it, and then try to chase the thing around. I want it just to lay there and just sit there while we weld it in. So it's actually looking pretty good. It's a little low right here. I've been trying to twist it and get that up, but I've got it up a little bit, but it's all going to take filler, and the way the hood slopes, it goes uphill, and then this flattens out right through here. So it actually flattens out, so there will be a line right through here. So it's going to take filler to make it all look beautiful, but we are looking pretty good. Now the next step is getting this piece out. That's the brace that braces from underneath to the scoop top right here. And if you guys remember, I drilled out all the spot welds when we had it apart, and I put a bunch of little tiny screws in. Well, I've since taken the screws out, and now this is loose. So it worked out perfectly, but we can't get that out of there. So we need to cut that apart to get those pieces out. So when you look down through the scoop, all you see is big old hole right there. So let me grab the cutoff wheel, see if we can get this thing out of here. All right, I put a couple of screws back in so this thing doesn't jump around. I don't think I can cut all the way to there, so we'll have to figure something out, but let's cut what we can. There we go. Still don't want to come out. All right, guys. We have to get creative on these cuts. We'll have to cut it again. I'll bring you back when we got some success here. All right, there we go. Just nicked it down inside there just a little bit. Scratch the paint off, no big deal. Now, put my hand all the way in there. All right, we're looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and get the paint stripped back all the way around this real carefully, clean up some of these edges, and we gotta figure out how to weld this thing on. All right, guys, I am really worried about warping this hood, but it's gotta be welded in. There's no gluing it in, there's no screwing it in. It's gotta be full welded. So I've got it taped down. It's sitting really nice. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get a tack right there, get a tack over here, maybe a tack there, and then just kind of see where we're at. And then maybe get a tack on the sides, and then I may try to pull these up. They're way lower than I'd like. I may try to lift that, but we can always do it with filler. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, let's just quit talking about it and get this thing tacked in. Oh, that rose up pretty bad right there. All right, well, we're gonna have to find a way to hold that down. I think I'm gonna get a tack right here and just work it. There's no way to hammer these welds to stretch them out because I can't get in there. All right, let me figure this out. All right, I figured out how to do it. I know I pushed that thing a lot, but the windbag for the win again. I just clamped a couple of boards together, stuck that windbag up there, pumped it up till we got the right spot. So I think it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna get a tack right here, and then I may move it over or release it and then see what's going on here. We're just gonna have to chase this thing around to get it to set just right, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. When those tacks shrink, they pull, and I can't hammer them out the way this thing's set up. So let me get some more tacks in this thing, and hopefully we can get it laying really nice. All right, we got it tacked in. I need to get more tacks in it before I start welding it, but it feels really good everywhere. And like I said, this rose up, so it actually came together. And the hood, I don't see any big warpage where it pulled it crazy, so that's pretty good. It feels a little bit high right here, but I just put a straight edge across there, and there's a crown right here, so we'll be able to fill that and flow all that together, so it shouldn't be a big deal, but it's looking pretty good. Now I just need to get some more tacks in it and a whole bunch of welding, and I just got to go fast and keep the heat down. So wish me luck. I'll shoot a little bit of it, but not too much. All right, guys, it's all cooled off and it went pretty good. Let me put it this way, it could have went a lot worse. So it did tuck along the weld, and I did get a few spots too hot. Now, I knew it was gonna tuck. I mean, that's just the way it is. You're welding that on there. But a couple of spots, I lingered a little too long. I don't know if you guys can see it. See the little spot right there and there? Now, these hoods, the factory hoods have it, and even this one had it a little bit, where there's a little kind of a weird spot emanating out from those corners, and that's from when they stamp that hood scoop shape in there with a hole in it. It kind of overdevelops this area or stretches it or something, and then you put heat on it, it just makes it worse. So we're gonna have to figure that out. But for right now, since I can't get to the underside, the brace is in the way, we're gonna have to figure out a way to pull this tuck out. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but it drops down right here and drops down right there. So we need to pull that back up since I can't get to the underside. So I think what I'll do is I'll take the burr tool and we'll clean all these welds up, nice and smooth them out pretty good, not great, and then we'll get the stud gun over here and we'll put some studs on here and either use the slide hammer to pull it up or my tool I built last year to try to pull that up and tap down at the same time. So give me a couple of minutes to get those welds cleaned up, and then we'll get after it, figure out how to get that tuck out of there. All right, that didn't really take that long with the burr tool. My welds weren't gigantic, and it's TIG welding, so they cut pretty easy. This area came out really nice. These aren't too bad right here. This really didn't pull in too much. That's really not too bad. This area here, of course, is a totally different story. It's tucked in there pretty good. So I wanted to use the tool I built. You guys may remember that, where you put a stud and then it just holds up on each side. But the footprint of it, it's a little too wide. It's going to push it out too far, and I think we're going to have too many problems with it. So to start off, I'm going to use the stud gun, put a stud right in the middle of the weld, and then like lay a dolly next to it, and then use the slide hammer and yank up on it, and just let that dolly kind of act as the backer out on the outside here. It's almost like tapping from the underside, but we're pulling from this side. So let me get a few studs in this thing, get a dolly out here and a slide hammer, and we'll see if this is going to work. All right, I'll use the bigger studs just because. We'll keep them spaced out a little farther. All right, we're just going to lay a flat dolly right across her like that. Hopefully I can do this one-handed. Get that to lock in. Well, that seemed to work. It's coming up. Yep, broke the stud off. But it did work. That's good news. All right, let's try to just do that across this whole thing and see what we can do. It's coming up very slowly though. All right guys, that's working, but this one's the deep one. That's where I lingered way too long. This over here came up pretty good, not great. It still has ways to go, but it seems like just pulling up on the slide hammer and then sliding it is working better than trying to hold the dolly there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some more studs in here and just keep working back and forth, and I'll bring you back when I have some success. All right, this is where we're at. Desperation. Not really, but yeah, the studs kept breaking off before I could really get a good pull. So I got the MIG welder out and I just tacked them on there. This one stuck great. I think it's because it's more on the sheet metal where I'm trying to spot weld them onto that weld, and I don't think they're taking so well, but it's working and I can put a lot of force on that. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Once I get these up high enough, I'm gonna cut them off, move them over in between, tack them on there, and then come back this way and work my way back to the center that's still low. It's not gonna be perfect. It's gonna take filler, but we are raising it up, and that's really what I need to do. So let me keep at this. I'll bring you back. Hopefully we'll have that fairly decently smoothed out. All right guys, it's looking better. It's pretty good throughout here. You can see right there. It's just a little shallow spot. Actually flattens out really nice right there. Then we get to the center, and it's fairly deep right there, and it's very robust. I cannot seem to get that to come out. I'm not gonna give up on it, but it's really good right through here. Right through here it's really good. The edges are a little off, but just this center is the worst spot right there, and you can see it right there. But my air compressor just blew up. It sounds like it threw a rod, or it was in the middle of throwing a rod when I got over to it to shut it off, and it smells in there. So that thing's almost 40 years old. I don't know how many hundreds and maybe thousands of hours I have on that poor thing, and I've rebuilt it twice. So I think it's time to look for a new one. But yeah, it's kind of hamstringing my work here without not having any air tools. But yeah, I think we're looking pretty good, a lot better than we did when we started. Hold on, Mark, you can't just leave it like that. And I didn't. So I modified the crap out of a C-clamp, cut the bottom off, welded a little thing on there so I could reach up underneath there and, you know, push up on all those welds. There was a flange up in there. I cut that off. I made a special dolly that reaches up underneath there so I could hammer it. And I went and got my backup air compressor out of the garage. It's a lot smaller. I didn't like all those air tools running all the time, but it did the job. But now it looks so much better. I don't think I would be able to go to sleep tonight leaving it like that. I'd probably sit there and think about it. So as you can see right there, it's a lot flatter across there. Still gonna need filler, of course. Probably still have a little more work to do with it, but I think it looks a lot better. All right, I wasn't planning on welding that all the way in today, but hey, we got on a roll. Screw it, let's get that thing done, and I'm glad to get it off the list. That was always kind of worrying me, welding that in. Now, last week we worked on or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, worked on the bumpers. And I did a lot of work on that bumper, and the thing is, that isn't the bumper you saw me work on. The bumper you saw me work on is laying over there, kind of cut up. So what happened was, I messed with it for like 2.5, 3 days after I was done shooting the video, because that piece over there just didn't fit the way I wanted. It didn't look as good as the other side. I kept messing with it like almost 3 days. I just wasted my time on that thing. There was some sort of bend over there I could not figure out. So I chucked it, got the other bumper out, and it took me 1.5 hours, 2 hours to get it straightened up and sweet. And then I had to redo all the work I did on the one, you know, that I just chucked. So it's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. It's fitting in there really nice. I'm super happy, except for one thing. This gap right here. I do not like this gap. It's so big I put my index finger in there sideways. So my question for you guys is, should I try to move that bumper back farther? And if I do, that means I have to modify this piece right here. So it's going to bottom out in the pocket. So I'll have to cut that about a 1/4 inch out of that, cut it apart, take a 1/4 inch out, move it over, weld it back together so I can move the bumper back even farther. And that'll bring it in over here a little deeper. I don't like it sticking out there, and it'll tighten up that gap so it looks a lot cleaner. I'm hoping to get, you know, like a 1/4 inch gap across there. So you guys let me know. I don't know if I'm trying to talk myself into it or talk myself out of it. So help me out on that one. There's a little hoop-de-doo right there I hadn't seen before, but don't worry about it. We'll fix that later. I really want to thank all of you guys that sent me emails, comments, text messages, let me know that you really love the content on the channel and it's not boring and you really enjoy watching. That really means a lot to me because it takes a lot of work to shoot these videos. It takes a lot of time and effort. I have to edit them, get everything posted. So that means a lot to me. Unfortunately, you know, it's kind of screwed up my schedule going to every 2 weeks. I know it's screwed up some of your schedules. Hey, it's not Thursday with a video getting dropped, but it's going to stay that way for a little while yet. So now I got a blown up air compressor to deal with in between all this. So we will get back to once a week. It's going to be sometime in the future. I don't know when, but there's some fun things coming up that we're going to be able to get back to once a week. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. I always love to hear from you guys. We'll see you on the next one.